Yeah, good afternoon, everyone, and you're welcome to Farmers Hub TV, your number one station for educated farmer. Is a platform whereby Farmer is a platform whereby farmers educate farmers, and when farmers empower farmers with other knowledge, they tend to maximize their production. So this week will be the last show for this year 2022. 2022 has been a great year in the agricultural sector, especially in Nigeria. This year, for this last show for this year, we'll be bringing a special farmer, a practicing farmer, an highly experienced farmer who will be talking to us on everything we need to know about tomato farming. Tomato is one of the Hello, sir. Can you hear me, sir? Hello, sir. Hello, sir. Can you hear me? Hello, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
Hello. Hello.
Yeah, welcome, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
Hello.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yeah, you're welcome to Farmer Hub TV. To our audience, today we'll be having Mr. Akinola Alfred. He's an expert in tomato farming and will be talking to us about everything we need to know about excelling tomato farming, especially in Southwest. Um, I would like Mr. Alfred to actually tell us more about himself, our audience, home and abroad, to know about what he does.
Well, good afternoon. My name is Alfred Akinola of Alfred Farms Enterprises. Well, tomato farming is one of the most lucrative farming among the agricultural business in Africa. In those days, we used to believe that before you can plant tomato or get tomato, we're talking about platinum, F1, and stuff like that. You can have to get to Jos, Plateau, get to Bauchi, and stuff like that. Never knew that we can do that even in the Southwest. So the first thing you do, test your soil. If your land is soily one, that is the loose soil, then you are good to go.
Yeah, sorry,
Otherwise, you
sir.
may face some problem.
Sorry to cut you. There is these norms in Nigeria that an average Nigerian, even if you ask children, they have these norms that tomato are mostly grown in north, that we can only have it in north. But is it possible for which should we still grow tomato in the southwest and it will grow well?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. The norms is that before you can plant tomato, you have to get to the north. There's nothing like that. You can plant tomato. Tomato can grow anywhere. In Southwest here, the person that trained us, we have a barrel, something like a barrel form, cylinder form. We fill it up with sand and make some hole at the body of the plastic, and then put the seed there. It starts germinating and yield as good as that. So what you do is that you get the right seed. Two, if your farm is not too big, it's okay. You have to think of irrigation. So if you can't do irrigation, Then you have to wait till rainy season. At that rainy season, by the time your tomato will be coming out, it may be the time that they be harvesting in the north, where they have government backup irrigation system. So in the southwest, the best thing, irrigation system doesn't have to be elaborate. That doesn't have to be something big. It just depends on the size. Start small, and as income is coming, then you just reinvest and expanding just like that. So what we do is that we cultivate our land, make the ridges, do our piping and whatever, and then sink a well, raise the tank to feed the tomato, and that will grow and give you good yield. There are certain things you have to do. One,
okay, for Southwest.
to prepare the, yes, Southwest. I'm talking about Southwest.
Yeah, I actually want to talk about for Southwest. There is particular variety of tomato seed that does well.
You can plant any tomato in the Southwest. I'm talking about tomato Platinum F1. All those hybrided tomato can grow here. It's something we did last year, and we know the returns. This something that we do this year now we are preparing for it. I will just talk about how you can do the preparation to get the right timing. Now, tomato will be in the germination tray, the Platinum F1. That's what I used to plant. Will be in germination tray for 21 days. But you make sure that your 21st day ends up on March 1. March 1. So between January and February, you have prepared your land for the tomato planting. You make your ridges. That's what I do. Then you do your staking if possible, because you have to do some staking, and you put some line on it, because these are tomatoes that doesn't want to rest on the floor. So you have to hang them up. And then when you do that, preparing for a tomato to come, then on before 1st March, you get your manure. The droppings you are getting from poultry is not the one with wood shaving. It has to be the droppings from cage, kill droppings, poultry droppings. Then when you get that, you have to sterilize it by putting them on a frying pan. Fry it as if you want to fry granules, or you want to fry gari and stuff like that. Make it dry. So all those worms and germs that are in there, they will have been even part of the manure itself. So after doing that, you get your coco peat. I think I have one here. I don't know whether I can. Let me see.
You can show it. You can, if you have it around, you can just show the audience.
Yes, I have one here. Okay. Let me get outside so that.
Okay, no problem, sir.
Okay, you see it now. This is coco peat. It's in the rectangular shape form. When you get this one, you soak it in water. It's a processed coconut shell for this kind of business. You soak it in water, then you mix it with the manure, then you fill your germination tray, even with these two items. Let me see my germination tray. Okay. This is the one we used last year. But because we realized that there are too many holes there, the coming up of the tomato was so tiny, and we lost a lot of them. So this time around, we reduced it to 90 holes of germination tray to make it stronger to come out well. So now, if you put them on the germination tray for 21 days, that will be, you will count your 20 days, that's 28 minus 10, 18.
18.
So that will be 10th of February. It must be your germination tray. So to end up 21 on March 1. I think you get the calculation now.
Yes,
So
sir.
if
I'm
you are
with
in
you. I got the
Southwest,
calculation, sir.
your target, yes, your target is March 1. Your tomato must be in the soil. So now
Okay.
the manure that you are preparing, you make holes. That is about 24 centimeter apart. You make holes just on that ridges and put this manure, because tomato is heavy eater, inside those holes. So prepare that to be on the 20th day of the tomato in the germination tray. The holes must be ready for planting. So the second day, which is March 1, you put your tomato plant inside it. Then you water it. You are good to go. By the time you have a week or two, your tomato, if you have not done your lining, is asking for lines. So if you don't do it earlier, it will be very difficult for you to do. Very, very difficult because it goes
Okay,
fast.
sir.
So I think there's a noise behind. I don't know where the noise is coming from.
Oh, you can continue, sir. I can hear you. I'm
Okay.
with you, sir.
Okay. Now, if you do that, the tomato is growing. There are certain things you have to notice on your tomato. There are, what do you call it now?
Okay.
If as you are growing,
Yeah.
there are some aspects of the tomato that you have to pull off so that the main stem will still grow, because that is the strength of the tomato. Every adjoining
Okay.
at the root point, if you allow them to grow, they will just take power from that main stem. You may not get good yield. So then that
Okay.
is that about the taking care of the tomato. Now, there are some chemical applications. Besides
Okay.
putting manure on the floor, on the soil, you have to look for foliar fertilizer. Then you have to
Okay.
look for pesticide. You have to look for insecticide and chemical to take care of worms. So those ones, you have to be using it interchangeably every week or every 2 weeks, so that
Okay.
the worms will not disturb it. There's something we call white flies. It will not eat up the plant and the tomato itself. The worm, when they come, they want to eat the tomato and they just populate that place. But once you do that, you might go to the experts where they are telling it, I don't know which one is good for you, but the one that is good for me is what I'm using. So, and you don't fail in applying all these chemicals on them. But the one I use, I love this, what do you call it, organic based chemicals. They are very expensive though.
Sorry to cut you short. In terms of the best fertilizer to apply,
Mm.
what are the best? Because sometimes I heard people saying um, poultry droppings that they're actually good for tomatoes.
Poultry what?
Uh,
Poultry waste.
yes, poultry wastes. Do you
Yeah, that's what I
actually,
say. It's good.
or is there any fertilizer recommendation to give in terms of the NPK that is required for a maximum growth for
Actually,
tomato?
I don't want to go to that area because I tried many of them, but I discovered that, let me see, I don't have them here, they're in farm. Wow. There are some, probably some other time. Okay, I have Super Grow. I use Super Grow. I use Agrizyme. Agrizyme is very, very good. So I don't have any here I could have shown you. I think you know about it. I think I asked you for it the other time.
Yeah, but
So
okay, I'm with you, sir.
Agrizyme is good for foliar. Super Grow is good. So and then there are other. That's the third one that I used. So those ones are very good for tomato. Then
And sir,
what?
another challenge is again I noticed because I have a colleague that went into tomato farming, and at the end of the
Mhm.
day, he lost so much money because of pests and diseases. Are there special way of preventing pests and diseases
Because of
on
what?
tomato farm? Pest and diseases, I think it
Okay.
was Ebola then. There's one disease they call tomato Ebola or something. Is it tuta something something? I can't really remember the name, but it was a particular tomato disease that whipped out all his farm. Are there any special way of
That was
preventing pests
what
and
year was that?
diseases on? I think that was should be like last year.
Exactly. It affects everybody. Yes, it affects everybody. That there is solution to it. In my farm, what I did was when I noticed that I tried to tackle it, I couldn't. I just changed the gear. I recultivated the land. I just sterilized the land and I replanted the tomato, and it was doing good. Let me give you one secret. It's very, 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 very funny. Do you know cucumber?
Yes, sir.
Do you know cucumber get rid of worm like snapping of your fingers? The
Wow, this
the
is the first
worms
time
that
I'm
used to
hearing this.
yes, the worm that used to eat tomato hop. If you
Yes,
plant
sir.
cucumber around your farm, it has its own worm though. If you plant cucumber around your farm, the worms that eat tomato run away from it. And
Hmm.
if possible, just harvest some of the cucumber, cut it in slices, and put it at the base of the tomato tree. They run away
Hmm.
from it. Cucumber. Cucumber is 45 days lifespan. Just 45 days you start harvesting. So it's
Hmm.
very easy to do. When you do that, then make sure that in your tomato farm, you have a section for cucumber in case there is casualties. Just use that one as remedy before you go to the chemical store to get things done. So
Hmm.
among the pesticide and insecticide we use what is it? I forgot the name. Wow. There is. Let me see if I have. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no problem, sir.
I didn't know that it's going to be. Sorry.
I said no problem about that. We are with you, sir.
Okay. So that one. Wow. I think we have taken everything to the farm. So, and I used to keep them at home.
Okay,
So
but
we
sir,
what we do. Yeah.
when it comes to irrigation, what kind of irrigation system will you recommend for people who are interested to start dry season tomato farming?
You know what I will tell? I will tell them start small. Get land beside stream. Sink a well, not a borehole. Borehole can be expensive. So, and then if you have like a couple of 100,000, you'll be able to do it. Don't look for what do you call it? This tank, this water tank that is expensive. Look for the small one. Pump the water into it. You can use for fairly use into those tank. It's just for you to start. Start with a plot of land. A plot of land, if you manage it well, at the end of the day, you will crop in about 500,000 naira. I can assure you that. If you
Wow.
follow the timing, I am telling you this. I know what I'm talking about.
But
A plot of land, if you
what
manage
would be
it
the
well,
cost? What would be the cost production on
can
that plot
give
of
you a
land?
profit of 0.5 million. As good as that.
Wow.
And why was that? The northerners that used to plant in a mechanized form, they are not ready at that time.
Hmm.
They are not ready. Their tomato will come out by August. So you plant your own March 1, and within 3 months, March, April, May, you start harvesting. Look at May, June, July. Even that very August, it is not the date they start harvesting that their tomato will come here.
Yeah, you're right, sir.
So you have 4 months to harvest. And at those period of time, people are in dire need of this tomato. Stores, they need this tomato. I'm talking
Yeah,
about,
like you said, sir,
sorry?
on that plot of land, like what's the average cost of production? Because you said someone can realize a profit of 500,000. Like what will
Yeah.
be the inputs to be able to get?
Input. Okay, let me see. The sachet of tomato F1 is 9,000 naira. That's one
Okay.
sachet. One sachet is enough for a plot of land. You can't even finish it.
Wow.
Sometimes you see over thousands or 2,000s in it. It just depends on the type you buy. So that is the seed itself. Then because you don't have well, but if you're on that plot of land that is well, it will reduce the cost. But because of
Okay.
water, that is where the money is going. So, but that land must be your land, because if you sink well on somebody else's land, tomorrow if you see how you are making money, he will chase you out.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's Nigeria for you. Except, of course, you are on lease. There's agreement that I will use this land for 10 years. Yeah, you can sink that well there, raise the tank. You may use, let me show you this. Yeah. You see this plastic? Just watch.
Okay.
This plastic, you can use that one as your tank initially. So it's only that you have to be pumping and pumping and pumping. And if you don't have money for seeking a well, you will do it manually. And that was can be very, very tedious, because
Hmm.
you have to fetch water every evening. But the best time to water your tomato is morning time,
Okay,
very early in
sir.
the morning, between 5 a.m. and 6, not 5 and 11. 5 a.m. and 6 a.m. You water your tomato, you leave it. The water will go down, it will suck the water. When the sun comes, the worm cannot stay in a land that is wet and that is sun. It will die off.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
but if you wet in the evening time, they populate that land because the place is wet and cool. And they will go to the root of the tomato to eat it up. All those pests. So you have to wet very early in the morning. Either you do it manually or you do it through irrigation system. Then that is one. The drip line
Okay.
is somehow expensive. I don't know how much it costs now. Maybe 20,000. Maybe so. Everything is just going up now. You get your drip line and you get your flat hose. Then there's this plumbing materials, to transport the water and stuff like that. I did mine by myself. I didn't employ any expert because I know that's something that I can think of and just get it done. And it was working fine for us. Then there are some kits, little kits you need to buy. So when you get those one, by the time you spend 50K to 60, 70, I think you are done about material. Uh, for a plot of land, though, for a plot of land. So
Sir,
when
another
you,
another challenge is okay, sir. I actually want to talk about the marketing aspect because I notice most of the time when we tell people about that there's money in dry season tomato farming, then some people they will ask you, is there where is the market? Some people they will tell you that it does not mean because everybody eats tomato. Definitely, if you bring your tomato out, you will get a buyer. Is there any like special techniques in terms of marketing the tomato? Is it that there's a particular time you have to like maybe harvest the tomato to make it still have a longer shelf life? before you finally get a buyer, or is it that you
Okay.
just have
Now
to?
there
I'm
there are
with
two
you.
things in there are two things in the question you are raising. The
Okay,
fear
sir.
of rottenness of the tomato. The tomato we are talking about, when you are applying your fertilizer, you have to use calcium base. To
Okay.
hello, okay.
I'm with you, sir.
Now you have to use calcium based fertilizer. That will make it stronger to last 6 weeks shelf life. 6 weeks.
Wow.
That one will give you comfort to sell your tomato. Okay. Now back to the question. There is market for this tomato everywhere in the southwest. When we wanted to start tomato business, all we were thinking of is to be taking our tomato to Lagos, because in Lagos is a big market for agricultural products. There is a particular place. The man says, if you don't have 150 crates, don't just bring anything to me. Anything less than that, I can't
Wow.
accommodate.
Wow.
150 crates. When I heard that, I ran away. I said, I can't make it. I can't do that now. You understand? Then,
Yes.
how am I going to sell my tomato? So I started looking at, okay, some people will go to market to buy stuff. They buy it so expensive. You have to look for how much is it in the market. You have to reduce the price from prevailing market price to attract people. I promise you, they'll be looking for you. That is our
Hmm.
experience. Our tomato don't sit down in a day like this. You're a
Hmm.
businessman, you have to speak out. Let people know what you are doing. I have this tomato. Eh? Is it tomato from the north? No, no, no. This is not from the north. It's from my farm. So this can grow in this place, stuff like that. But when they buy it and you assure them that this tomato can last 6 weeks on your shelf, try it. If it's not working, come and take your money back. Confidently,
Hmm.
I sold my tomato. Till now, they still asking for tomato. But unfortunately, I can't go to farm now. My workers are on holiday. So
Wow.
market
Wow.
is
Wow.
no problem. Market is no issue. Either in Ibadan, Abeokuta, Oshogbo, wherever in the southwest, everybody eats every day. And
So,
most
sir,
of the people, they rely.
apart from applying the right fertilizer, using the right pesticides, is there any, after planting, is there any special farm activities you need to do in terms to make the tomato comes out, or in terms of reducing maybe weeds, or in terms of reducing maybe like the flies we talked about that will affect the productivity of the tomato? Are there any special farm activities?
Number one thing is that you make sure you get rid of weeds. Weeds do two things. Tomato don't like to share its environment with anything, not even with another tomato. Do you understand? So you have to weed your farm
Yes.
periodically. That is one. You have to do the pruning of the tomato to make it grow as high as it can. It all depends. There's one that can grow up to, I think, 9 or 10 feet. I don't like that. That'd be too tall for me. But sometimes they fall back. They fall back to the other side of the line and still coming down. So, you have to do the pruning, weeding of the farm, applying your water and fertilizer every week. If you use one, okay, like now, so that the tomato may develop, no, the pests can develop resistance to some chemicals. So you have to use two types of chemical. So when you're using this one this week, you use another one next week. So to destabilize them, so that they will not build up resistance to those applications, so that your tomato will grow and have good life. When the flower is coming up, there are chemicals you need to use. Probably after this, maybe you create some WhatsApp group. I can be posting these things there, especially as we are doing it, even video of it, so that some people will learn it, even practically. I think it's okay that way.
Yes, sir, I'm with you,
So
sir.
for now, I don't have access to any of my equipment. What I do in the city is just my other business, farm business, processing of my farm produce, cassava and stuff like that. So, but on
Wow.
tomato stuff, we resume next week. I mean, no, next month rather. We start working on the farm.
Okay, sir. So you were saying about
Yeah.
flowering. You were talking about
Mm.
flowering that there's a chemical
That
to
is
be
when
used.
to, yes, that is when to use your fertilizer so
Okay,
that
sir.
there'll be more flowers on it, and the flower will will be strong, will not fall off. Do you understand? So that
Okay, sir.
when it falls off, you know that when one flower falls off, that's a tomato. So
Okay, sir.
you make sure you guide them that way, that they keep on flowering and then fruiting.
Okay, sir.
So
On that one plot of land, is there a specific seed spacing that is needed? That okay, if I use this particular spacing at the end of the harvesting period, I should be able to get this particular number of heat on my tomato farm.
what I did was between one tomato plant and another on the ridges is 12 centimeters. That's 1 foot. You can do 1.5, you can do 2, but I do 12, and it was doing good. But between ridges, it has to be 24. That's 2 feet apart. The hip, the the mid the midway of the ridge to the other has to be 24 apart, so that be enough breeze, then enough room for you to move when it comes to harvest.
Okay,
You
thank
get
you
it
so
now?
much.
Yeah,
Yes, sir. Thank you
you're
so
welcome.
much. Really appreciate you for coming on live on Farmers Up TV. Actually, my
Yeah.
partner, like I told you, that is Canada based. He was the one meant to host you, but due to one or
Mm,
two reasons, like I told you, that this Saturday will be crossover in Nigeria, and the time will not
mm,
be able to, will not be able to be feasible for both of us since we are in Nigeria and as in Canada. That's why I hosted you. I really appreciate you, and
mm,
I'm very sure that our audience, after listening to this, would also be looking forward to hear from you. At the end of the program, I'll also get your contact so that it will be uploaded on the video, so that maybe people who need your services, like maybe people want to set up farms, tomato farms, or people who wants to buy tomato around Southwest, they can always contact you. And
okay.
lastly, before we end the show, what kind of advice can you give to someone who is looking into 2023 to start a tomato farm? What are the advice that you can give to the person that, oh, based on my experience, this is what I will advise you to do?
What I would say is waste no time. Start. Get a land. Don't get big land. Get a plot of land. A plot of land for you. I don't. It depends on your purse anyway. For average school leaver, get a plot of land, plant the tomato. If you manage it well, you can't get less than what I said as profit. I'm not talking about the return, total returns. As profit, you can't get less than that. And it is easier to manage small farm than big one. It's not the size of the farm, but the size of the output of the farm. So start small. Get a plot of land, cultivate the land, get water. If you can't do the irrigation, do it manually. But I assure you, wherever you are in the Southwest, when you plant this tomato, you will not regret it. You
All
will
right.
just be thinking that, what have I been doing all this while? So when you do it
Thank.
that way, the next time you want to do it, you can do an acre of land. Sorry,
All
let
right,
me
sir.
let me chip this in.
Okay,
By the
sir.
time by the time you want to expand, you can rent a land, an acre of land or 2,000 heaps of land. That is 2/3 of an acre of land. In my area, they rent it now for 10,000 naira per annum. So you look for the one that's near stream. So inside that stream, you can sink a well inside the stream. So you'll be sucking your water from that place and be watering your farm. So think of that one ahead of time. So when you do a plot today, I guarantee you that the next time you want to do it, you want to do an acre. You are not buying an acre, rent it for 10,000 naira. Then you start doing it there, and here you go, and you see the returns.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. Like I said, thank you. I really appreciate you for coming. I'm very sure our audience too, they are very happy to hear from you because
Yeah,
tomato is actually one of the vegetable that is highly profitable
yeah,
um, as long as people can learn how to, because there's the science part of how to produce it. If not, if people don't acquire the knowledge that you've just said, like what you've reviewed, mistakes can lead to
mm,
them losing money. Uh, I
mm,
want to appreciate our audience for listening to this. Our audience in Canada, US, Nigeria, different part of Nigeria, we really appreciate you.
mm.
We wish you a prosperous new year. And for those of us who will be venturing into tomato farming, we can actually learn so much from what Mr. Akinola Alfred have said. I will also put in practice in what you said. We really want to appreciate everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir, again for coming for the show.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you. Bye-bye.